All right. All right, and we are back with another popping episode. We're gonna close out and talk about some new news about Deontay Wilder, who we weren't sure about after the kind of shellacking he took from Joseph Parker, what would be his next step. But he there's it's gonna be the fight of the kind of the Parker conquest because he is set to fight Zhang. Well, not yeah, yeah. So who recently just lost his belt to Joseph Parker. But what I think what is even more significant is that this is the undercard for the Better VF versus B-Ball fight, and this marks the signing of Wilder to Matchroom. So this is part of the 5v, 5 versus 5, between
Queensberry
yeah,
versus Matchroom.
Queensberry, and this. So to me, it doesn't open up a new era necessarily, but it's kind of it's creative and innovative, and it's a kind of return to the old guard. But I want to give them credit for working together and actually kind of putting this matchup together. So we want to first of all kind of talk about the significance of Matchroom working with Queensberry, and then what does that kind of say about the greater landscape when it comes to the promotion, right? Because a lot of them have been very critical of PBC, who likes to keep everything in house, right? So we only remember the notion is just like, well, he's across the street, meaning that he's at another promotion and that I can't fight him, or I won't fight him unless he comes over to this promotion, which was to me always a lame excuse, and it was just something that was a built-in excuse that prevented us from getting the fights that we wanted. And right now, with these promotions working together, we can get that excuse is to the wayside unless you're with PBC, right?
Well, to a small degree, right? We had talked a little bit about this in the pre-pro. It's not if we're being trying to be 100% accurate here. There are a bunch of different examples that we can pull up where PBC has sent fighters to Top Rank. Top Rank has sent fighters to PBC. Queensberry and Matchroom has been the same thing. Something that's lost over here within the American boxing discourse is that Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn have the bitterest of rivals. I mean, I heard a
Hey,
story.
word.
I
No,
heard a
yeah.
story one time where these guys wouldn't even talk to each other in the same room. If they were in the same room together, they wouldn't even acknowledge each other. Then one of the more people who talk to Cold War with Top Rank and PBC and all that stuff. This Frank Warren Queensberry versus Matchroom and Eddie Hearn going all the way back to Barry Hearn, one of the more bitter rivalries in boxing. So look, yeah, this is hugely significant, not in the sense that we're doing cross promotional stuff because that's not uncharted territory, but what is interesting when it comes to this promotion is that it is being billed as Queensberry versus Matchroom. If you look at the advertisement for this fight, it is the profile of Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren. And then superimposed on that, you see smaller, much smaller images of the fighter. Cam, is there a way you can go and find that image of the promo, the image for the promotion for this fight? Because that's very significant to me. This is very much being billed as a rivalry between promotional outfits.
But tell me
Right. And
the promo for the 5 versus 5 or for
the,
the
for the promo for the you pull up that image of the promo for the 5 versus 5, and it's not Bevo better BF, which is a huge fight. It's not their two faces. It is Barry Hearn, Eddie Hearn,
Eddie
and
Hearn?
Frank Warren, two gigantic profiles, the two of them staring at each other as if they're gonna get in the ring and fight. Which is from a promotional standpoint, something that we haven't seen in boxing in a while. they could have done this. Look, just imagine if they had marketed. Just imagine for a second that Al Heyman was an actual promoter and he came outside
Ooh,
and he talked
wow.
to
An
people and
actual
he gave
promoter. Oh,
interviews. Imagine that for a second, and then imagine
shots fired.
if we had gone back to Wilder versus Fury, and we had promoted Wilder versus Fury as a top rank versus PBC. And then imagine if Top Rank had wheeled out their A-list guys, stacked them on an undercard, and PBC rolled out their A-list guys, put them on, and they squared off like that, and it was promoted that way. That fight would have been even bigger than it
Man,
was.
you
I mean,
couldn't afford that fight. There's not a
they,
unless Saudi Arabia came in and be like, "Yo, I'm gonna pay the fighters." There's no venue in America that's going. Those fighters gonna get their money. That they.
You 100% right. Which brings me to another point I was going to make, and it's a point actually that Teddy Atlas had made earlier in the week. I believe it was on Pro Box TV or some interview that he did, where Teddy Atlas has said that Turki AlalSheikh is the new face of boxing. Which, yeah. Damn, I saw that shit. I said, damn. Teddy says a lot of off the wall. Teddy says a lot of off the. Look at this. No fighter. These guys aren't fighters. Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn haven't fought around in their life, but look at how this is being promoted. Can you? I mean, it would look a little bit silly if you had, Al Heyman and Bob Arum, staring down each other. I get it. It sounds a bit silly, but if you go to a lot of these YouTube personalities, you look at over the last few years, the stuff that has generated the most interest amongst hardcore boxing fans has been this PBC versus Top Rank and all this stuff. It's hugely significant and it's interesting. But Randy brought up an excellent point, which kind of cuts the legs that or undermines my argument.
Go ahead.
Pretty significantly, the money that the Saudis and Turki AlalSheikh are able to throw around here, it's really something that the sport has not seen in quite some time. I mean, money talk, bullshit runs the marathon, man. This guy is throwing around huge dollars, and he's doing it because he's being ordered to market Saudi Arabia. The Saudis are, not to go too off the rails here, the Saudis know that the oil is going to run out eventually.
Yeah.
They are trying to create another revenue stream, or cultivate an additional revenue stream for the country. And the only thing that they can think of right now is tourism, because ain't shit growing in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if anybody has been to that part of the world before. They can't grow shit. There's not really much of an entertainment industry to speak of. So this is them trying to grow that. This guy, Turki AlalSheikh, is a huge boxing fan. I do not doubt his enthusiasm, his fandom. I think this guy truly loves the sport, but he has got a job to do. He's got a job to do. He takes his orders directly from the king, and they are throwing this money around to not save the sport of boxing. It is to save the economy of Saudi Arabia.
You really think? I thought it was.
I know so.
Yes. I thought it was
it
seemed like a kind of
man.
a personal. This guy, if you've seen the interviews, this guy is a boxing fan and a boxing historian. Like, he can speak about that, and it's that. I mean, these fights they're not off the Richter scale when it comes to pay-per-view. I mean, they're bringing in revenue because
I don't think they give a shit about pay-per-view.
Yeah. No. They want people to come to Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
They want people to come to Saudi Arabia, and this is their kind of social experiment for tourism.
Well, it's not even talking about bringing people to Saudi Arabia, because I'm now hearing that he's going to promote some fights here in the United States, still under that banner. It's not about that, Cameron. They took.
But that's a different argument. That's because you don't benefit from the economy that is driving. That's just
it's just geopolitics. The same reason that they took over golf. They're going to take over boxing just like they took over golf.
Well, all right, we got a little bit off the beaten path. We don't want, this is not a political show, but yeah, as far as Wilder and Zhang go, look, this shit can go horribly wrong for Wilder. I mean, this I know I did not watch Zhang's fight against Parker, so I don't know how Zhang looked against Parker, but I did watch Wilder versus Parker.
He petered out at the end, but he looked decent.
He looked
who, Parker or Zhang?
No, Zhang, he still was showing his. The thing is that his conditioning has always been a problem, and he can be outboxed. The guy is super heavy handed. Like he can.
Yeah, well, dude, would you put money on Wilder to outbox anybody at any point in Wilder's career? You're talking about a massive human being too. What is Zhang? What is he, 6'7"? Something like that. 260, 270. I mean, I get it. Wilder has that ultimate weapon, but it's been a long time since we've seen him against anybody credible. And
yeah, I just don't think Zhang can duck that right hand like
I mean, yeah, with him being a southpaw, it does come right down that.
It does. That's a good point. Yeah. That is a good point.
But Wilder jumping ship to go over, that's not a big deal. I mean, he already said he has like 1 or 2 fights left in him. So
I mean, why not fight on Amazon then? Why not fight for PBC?
Yeah.
Who did he have in the PBC stable?
Oh no, I'd have to go look.
And then paying, wait a minute, who did they have in the PBC stable? One, and who was gonna pay money for that fight, for that pay-per-view, because it would have had to been a pay-per-view. In America,
been a lot.
He was done. Wilder done in America, bro.
It's a good point. It is a good point. That's true.
And then to get this Cameron point, you know what I'm saying? Everybody keeps saying that it's PBC. They say this started on the side of the road. This started with Top Rank. Tim Bradley, the one who really started that shit when he went and fight Spence.
I don't know how accurate that is.
Go look it up.
Yeah, I don't know how accurate that is.
I mean, y'all can YouTube it. Tim Bradley was like, "Yo, why he calling me out? When we we fought on that side of the street?" And then he said it, and then after that, it became this side of the street type conversation.
Oh, as far as the
I don't think Spence. I mean, Tim Bradley is the best. Tim Bradley is a fight avoider. Like this, he was avoiding Amir Khan when.
I'm just telling you the factual statement of how that started, and because you brought the way you mentioned it earlier was like PBC started this. We only fight our people on our side of the road, but that's not true.
But okay, so here's the question I have. Do you think the folks over at PBC would be willing to do business at the very, because we've heard David Benavidez come outright and say, I believe it was on the Cigar Talk podcast that he did, where he said that my contract prohibits me from going over and fighting on DAZN or fighting or whatever. I just wonder, you know, given what we've seen between Matchroom and Eddie and Queensberry, if PBC would at the very least be open to entertaining some sort of massive cross-promotional fight like this. I don't see that there's any reason that Turki AlalSheikh can't do fights on. Though. I mean, Turki AlalSheikh is making it economically feasible.
So then but now you're going. So that's the point that I was trying to make. Is I think the paradigm of the old promoters, you fighting on this card, you fighting on that card, or you belong here, is getting ready to get blown up. Because this damn Saudi money like trumps all of their asses. And then if they say, I want that fighter to fight this fight over here, those fighters are going to be like, fuck it, sue me. I'm going to go take this money in Saudi Arabia. I think he offering crazy money for fights, and to be like, hey man, I'm loyal to old boy because he's been feeding me for the last 3 years. I think the paradigm is about to change drastically, and I think these promoters are going to are going to be forced to work with each other, or else their fighters are going to be relegated to Devin Haney's or just good fighters that's not going to move the needle, because all the good fighters or the exciting fighters are going to be in Saudi Arabia. And if the dude come to America and start promoting these fights, it's a wrap for PBC, Top Rank, all of them.
Well, remember, just to be clear, and for the edification of our audience, Turki AlalSheikh is not a promoter.
He's not a promoter.
Is a foreign dignitary. He is a representative of a
He's just putting up the site fees and all that. So it's
right. So I wonder,
you just have to be willing to work with him. Yeah.
Yes, and it would be great. Exactly, Cam. And that would be great. I would love it if Turki AlalSheikh and his representatives could reach out to whoever's running PBC now, because apparently Al Heyman hasn't been seen in months. Apparently it's this guy, Louis de Cubas, is running the show over there. Why not reach out to those guys and say, hey, let's do an event like this, and we'll do it on Amazon. You come to Saudi Arabia, but Amazon gets the broadcast rights. I wonder if they'd be open to that, especially if this guy is cutting the check. Why not?
I think the paradigm, I think the old way is over, man. It's just this money is going to change.
Well, PBC is still doing it their way. They're still doing it.
As of right now,
their way. But the whole paradigm has, because PBC has an exclusive deal with Amazon, right? Which is a streaming platform. So they realized that they have to kind of adjust, right? Because they had a deal with Showtime. So like the old model of Showtime, HBO, that's by the wayside right now.
And Munguia, and to Randy's point, Munguia, who is a Golden Boy DAZN Zanfer, is fighting over on Amazon against Canelo, and you'll be able to buy that fight on DAZN, you'll be able to buy it on Amazon.
So to be clear, so Canelo is with PBC, because I've been hearing.
Correct.
You remember it was a 3-fight deal that he signed to fight when he fought.
Yeah. But this is a co-promotional in order to skip all the minutia. To Randy's point, as far as the paradigm shift, yeah, Munguia fighting Canelo. It is a co-promotion. And they're working it out some way. You'll be able to, subscribers of DAZN will get the show at some sort of a subsidized amount, and people can also buy the shit on Amazon. So yeah. And look, to Randy's point, and to Randy made the point when it came to Wilder, is who he's got to fight left. Look, Canelo calls the shots, like it or hate it. He was not willing to fight any of them other guys on PBC who he was supposed to fight. They bent over backwards and made this Munguia fight. Remember, they tried to make Munguia Charlo, and that fight couldn't get done. But they were able to get this fight done. They were able to get it done. And this is another co-promotion. So
and then to get back with Cam, what Cam said, PBC is not trying to change, but they get ready to get aged out. Think about it. Canelo got 2 fights. He got 1 fight, but Munguia, and then he got 1 more fight, and then he's out of that contract. All their whole stable, Spence probably next fight is probably going to end his career. Andrade, everybody, all they have right now that's feasible is Benavidez, and he just ain't.
Well, they got don't they have David Morrell?
Yeah,
Morrell is in the household name. I mean, great fighter, but he to me he's about like, hey, you know what I'm saying? He ain't filling those stands. So Benavidez Jr. probably can pay-per-view. Charlos are out, on their way down. So you go through the list, it's going to be, PBC is in order to survive, they're going to be forced to deal with the new guy.
To my point, I was trying to give them credit. I was saying that they have, like, I thought my point was, I was saying like they have adjusted a little bit, right?
I thought you said they stayed.
No.
That was me that said that, and I had to correct myself because to your point, they're kind of out of options. The last of the big fights that can be made for their guys, most of those guys are on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
So let's go through their list, man. They got like a lot of people long in the tooth on that on that page.
And that's true too. Yeah, that is true too.
So we've only got about probably about 5 more minutes before we need to wrap up. But I want to kind of bring in Coach. Let's kind of bring it back to boxing, right, a little bit. So
Yeah.
one
So
of the reasons why, go ahead, Coach.
no, go ahead, brother.
Well, I was gonna say one of the reasons why this was even a part of the lexicon and like the conversation was that Wilder was signing with Matchroom, and then he was linking up with Zhang, Zhang. So Wilder is somebody who has, if we want, be honest, so he's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. He was knocked out pretty brutally in 2 of those fights or whatnot. So, with both your hats, and you kind of talk about that with your trainer hat and your promoter hat on, what would you recommend for Wilder out there? Is what does he need to do to make sure that he stays a viable commodity within this boxing landscape?
Well, to that question, I making the move over to Matchbox was great. Going to fight this Zhili Zhang.
Matchbox.
I'm sorry. Yeah, fighting Zhili Zhang is great. Just you need to knock this dude out, with that right hand. In terms of legacy and loot, I mean, you're looking at a guy that his legacy is going to always be 2 things. Tyson Fury just whooped you, lumped you up a couple of times, but bro, you had one of the most devastating right hands. What I would honestly try to do, if it could happen, is, you beat this Zhili Zhang guy. Go ahead on and let's finish out that whole scenario where all the tops fight each other. I mean, you had Ali fighting Foreman and Foreman fighting, Foreman fighting Holmes and Little Scrubs, whoever, Kenny Norton. So listen, man, go ahead on and knock this Zhili Zhang out. Try to get you a fight with Joshua.
Yeah.
But even if you don't get one with Joshua, bro, try to get one last go at it with even Fury. Like, look, bro, you got me, but I got to get my get back. And it might not, people might not want, but that's what it's all about. But let me. So that's what I think he needs to do. Fight Zero, then just go ahead on and fly on off, bro, to space and ethos somewhere. So just roll on out. So the Saudi, I got to address that, man. I just let y'all kind of talk and say it, all that stuff, bro. Man, I've been talking about this Saudi stuff like forever. So what does it mean? Like, let me give you just. It means that this cat Eddie Hearns and the Saudis, they are telling these promoters, put up or shut up. Now, one show that we had, people were saying about, this fight can't happen, this fight. And I was on the show and I kept saying, you guys are sleeping on this Saudi money. It's going to do stuff. And then I said also, you're going to see a lot of fighters that's leaving and they're going to be trying to go over to Matchroom because those fighters really don't sit on the shelf and they have the backing. So who's over there now? Alicia Baumgartner's over there. I think Boots is over there now.
Fulton is going over there.
Fulton.
I'm sorry. Maybe. There's rumors.
But Wilder is over there. So okay, so Baumgartner, Boots, Wilder. I'm saying you're going to see a flood of fighters heading over to Matchroom, and they are telling these promoters, put up or shut up. So to Randy's point though about PBC just aging out and all of that stuff, I'm gonna tell you something. When I'm saying the Saudis, when they start coming to the States, probably the only promotion company that can stick in there a little bit, if they're smart, I think it's going to be Top Rank. They got the most predominant up and coming fighters from any promotion company that's out there. And it literally might get down to Eddie Hearns and the Saudis versus Top Rank. But you're about to see a lot of fighters vacate where they're at and head over to Matchroom because he is smart to team up with the Saudis. And let me give y'all another piece on that real quick. So the number two. So we're talking about the Saudi Boxing Federation. That's what it's called.
Mhm.
Do y'all know who the number two person is who's really running that? It's a female named Rasha Al Khamis, who is a strong component of female boxers. Just had Carissa Shields over there trying to put something together. On both angles with this sport, I'm telling you guys, the Saudis are coming. I don't know if the oil running out, none of that stuff. I don't really care about that. And another thing that they're interested in finding a true Saudi national that they can really
get behind.
so
Good luck with that.
don't sleep on the nationalism that's going on here. And so I know about that from an individual that I know who knows this woman, Rasha Al Khamis. And she basically is running the Saudi Boxing Federation. She is running it. So what I'm saying is that when you hear of the Saudis putting a fight on in the United States, be it male or female, then it's on. It's over. So these promoters got to put up and shut up. That picture that you just posted with the promoters looking at each other, it's time to put up and shut up. Time to put up and shut up. And it's going to make even the boxing sanctioning bodies do their stuff, because that money is going to be coming from the Saudis. It's going to make no, this is the mandatory WBC boxing sanction. Make me fight. I get this fight.
That's great. That's great insight.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So we're coming to the close of another Poppin' episode, but I'm going to give Boston and the Kazaran just an opportunity to kind of some closeout statements if you do want them. But I think that we've given them a lot to kind of, the audience a lot to kind of fester on. And this is something that is still in the making, but we're trying to get ahead of the news because we can kind of, put on our thinking caps and look into the future a little bit and see the direction that's going on. But do you have any thoughts to close out?
I say the one thing I'll say, and I'll close with one word that comes to mind is a word that's very, very important in boxing, but not in the way that people might be thinking conventionally. And the word is unification. A lot of people, when they think boxing, they think unification, unifying of the belts. But when I'm talking about unification within the context of our discussion, it is the unification of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing these rival promoters together, putting them all under one banner, you could really, really, really see the resurgence of the sport of boxing when it's no longer a niche sport, where it's back on primetime network television. So hopefully this is the beginning of that. This is like the infancy. Hopefully the last 2 years, when boxing historians look back 50, 60 years from now, and they say, hey, when did the tide turn for boxing? They'll look back on these 2 years, 2023, 2024, as the year when, from a business standpoint, boxing really, really turned the corner and then climbed out of the depths of being a niche sport to back to its former place of prominence. So I'll end with that. Unification.
Yeah, I that makes sense. And then first thing I thought of when Jared mentioned that was like the UFC model. I wouldn't want to go to that model, but I understand and I agree with Boston Jared on with everything is under one umbrella. You can still have your divisions under that umbrella, but still under one boxing platform. And hopefully it pushes. I've always been an advocate of a boxer making his, but I think the way that things works now is like, unless you getting X amount of millions of dollars, you're not willing to step up and fight the next person in charge. So hopefully, if they do consolidate or are forced to work together, it pushes down the market to something more reasonable for fighters to make that purse, instead of fighters holding out, hoping that, praying that they'll get a $6 million purse when the fight honestly should only be like $1 million. So I'm about capitalism, but at the same time, it's us, the fans, that have to pay that, and we shouldn't be paying $75 for bullshit pay-per-view.
Yeah, and I would just end by saying that I think that we as viewers and as the boxing audience, that we have an opportunity to kind of dictate the market, in a sense, in that if we don't put up with and support these kind of BS matchups, and I think that it's supply and demand, that the market will have to respond to us, and then we'll start to get the fights that we do want to see. But I think we're seeing some positive things and that's going on with boxing right now, and we do have to do away with the old model and be open to working with other countries just as a part of it. But when it comes down to it, we really care about the health of this sport, and we need to get away from nationalism and all those other things and think about, okay, what is the best thing for the sport? And also want to make sure that we do protect the pugilists who are a part of this sport, because without them, we can talk about the promoters and stuff, but without them, this sport is nothing. All right, man. Thank y'all for another great show. POP, Pop Talk, Pundits of Pugilism. This is your man, Professor Nils. I'm signing out for the Casual Rand.
Peace.
Boston Jared. Coach Dave. All right. Thank y'all for rocking with us. We out.
Rude.